JavaScript. So this is how it looks like. I click next, image changes, everything changes, and you guys notice that this became the link was taken off of this one. If I go back, this one too goes back to just a regular previous button. So how do we do this? Again, like I mentioned, you guys notice image load fast. You know, personally, I'm not a big fan of like the slide in and fade in and whatever, but who knows? I like something clean and simple. Here's what the code looks like. I start with some CSS, real simple CSS. Okay, you guys can read that. So we go to the body tag. So within the body tag, I have a div called div. Within the div, I have two spans, and then within those spans, I have two anchor tags. Okay, and then they call two functions. One says return previous image, and then the other one says return next image. When you click either of those, now I have this div right here. This is really optional. This is just to show me the number. Okay, next one, I have a div of image container, and then within that div I have an image tag with a blank source. The source will be populated using JavaScript. Okay, so let's go to the script. So here I gather all my IDs. So I have 4 IDs. Well, technically I have 3, and then this one is just optional. This is just to show the number, which number on the array corresponds to the image. Okay, so I have 4 IDs over here that I'm collecting. Okay, so the next thing I do is I create my array of random images. Now this array can be populated dynamically, either using PHP, ASP.NET, or whatever server web scripting language you're using. Okay, so I'm not sure how many of you know how arrays work. The way arrays are numbered in computer languages, everything starts from 0. Okay? So 0 is the first element, 1 is the second element, 2 is the third element, so on and so forth. As you guys can see, we have 7 images in our array. This can be scaled up. You can have 20, you can have 30, doesn't matter. Okay, so that's it for the array. The next thing we're doing is there needs to be stuff done when the user initially visits the page. Okay? So when the user visits the page, we need to see an image, the first image. How do I get this image right here? I set a dummy variable I to 0. So I say, okay, whatever the attribute is of the image tag, if you guys remember, this imge is the variable right here, which is the document get element ID, which is the image tag. Okay, the attribute, okay, remember, this is an attribute. So what this is telling it is, okay, for the attribute of source, give it the first image in the array. So here I will be 0. So take this 0, plug it in here, and then it pulls this and then populates the source over here. Okay, I hope you guys understand the mechanism. And the next thing we're doing is previous inner HTML says, okay, if you guys know, previous is document get element ID previous, which is the span ID, this one. So what this tells what this code tells JavaScript to do is take this anchor tag and then remove it, and then just simply replace this with the word previous. That's what gives it this illusion of, okay, I can't click this because I'm already at the first image. Okay, so going back there, again, this is optional. This is just to show me, the next thing is just to show me this 0, which is the first element in the array. So now we create our functions. We need 2 functions as required because initially we called 2 functions. One is called previous image and the other one is called next image. So the first function we're looking at is next image. Next image says whatever I is, obviously the way it works is when you click next, you're supposed to go to the next image. Now, if I'm currently on 0 and my next image is 1, I need to go to 1. So this increases I by 1. Okay, again, this is optional. This is just to show me that 1 is the corresponding number in the array for the current image. Okay, so once you increase that by 1, so now I becomes 1, and then we change the image attribute to 1, so this becomes 1. 1 corresponds to the second element in the array. Now we have a condition. Obviously, if you don't have this condition, that you can theoretically keep going further and further and keep increasing as you keep clicking next. Obviously, this for user interface design, we want to tell JavaScript a condition. What the condition is when you're clicking, if eventually I is equal to the image.length. Image.length is a property telling us for an array, telling us that, okay, how many things are in the array. So here there are 7 things in the array, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But the way the number array gives us is 6. 6 corresponds to the 7th element. How do we get 6? However many you subtract it by 1. That's why we have a 1 here. So what this tells us, once you get to the maximum, the last image in the array, change basically this next inner HTML next, you change the anchor tag of next into just a plain text next, and then the previous still stays the same with just a link. Same thing for these ones. However, if you're not at the maximum yet, just keep the way the links are, and then return false. Return false simply tells JavaScript to just process everything on the same page. Now our next function is previous image. Previous image does the opposite of next image. Obviously, when I click previous, the number decreases by 1. Okay, and then same thing here, and then now we have our condition. So our condition says if I is equal to 0, which is the first element, then do this. Otherwise, keep the links the way they are, and then return false. Okay, I hope you guys understood this. If you want this code, you can simply pause this video and then copy the code, because this is recorded in a high definition, so you guys should be able to see the image or the text and the code. Okay, so that's it for my tutorial. I think my next tutorial, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna extend this tutorial. Probably the next thing is I'll just create a custom, I guess you could say a custom light box. If some of you guys may know what light box is, basically what it does is, the next what I'm gonna do is, this image is just gonna be like real little, so when I click on it, it becomes real big. Okay, that'll be my next tutorial. If you guys have any question, sorry, that's my phone, apologize for that. So if you guys have any question, please message me. Again, I thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Okay, have a good day. Bye bye.